Is it fair for a potential employer to ask you about your personal life during a job interview? All right, tell me how you really feel. All right, someone wrote to the Washington Post columnist saying they were flummoxed when asked how their best friend would describe them. Is this a fair question, ladies?
Interesting. I love the reaction from the audience.
Yeah.
I also love the word flummoxed. That is an underused word. I wouldn't like this question, I don't think, being asked to me, but I do think it's an interesting one. And I would tweak it a little bit to say, what would your closest friends say about you? And I think it reveals a lot the way you would answer that. In the same way, that stupid question that used to be going around at interviews, which was, tell us about your worst quality. And many people would say,
what's your biggest weakness?
What's your biggest weakness? Oh, I work too hard.
Yeah. I care too much about everything.
I care too much, exactly. And then it gives the opportunity for the hiring manager to be like, okay, like, you're not interesting. So I think the way you answer that is interesting. And I'll say, this is an interesting exercise regardless. Do you know what your closest friends think about you? Think about that for a minute. I did this once. I reached out to my closest friends. It was when I was working with a life coach. I can't remember why. And I asked them to list my, I think, 5 top qualities that they thought. And I figured if I could get some consistent ones, that might be true about me. It's not just an impression. The bigger question was to ask, like, what are your most negative questions? But we'll leave that anyway.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Did you do it?
I did that too. And it actually wasn't bad. Like, I mean, they were trying to be kind to me, but it's revealing. So I mean, I can do this for you guys at some point.
No, I'm good. I'm straight.
You know why I do? I want to be in on, like, maybe do it. It's a really interesting thing if you're, like, commit to honesty and self-growth, because the older I get, the more I cherish and seek self-awareness. And so self-awareness in terms of, like, how, and I think this question does that. Get yourself out of your own head for a second and try to look at yourself objectively and kind of be okay to take the criticism. So I think it's an interesting question in that it does ask you, get out of yourself, stop trying to, you know, poof up yourself in front of this potential boss and get into someone else's head and what do they see about you. I think just in general, that's an interesting exercise.
I agree with everything you're saying, but don't you feel like every interviewer who, when you're in a job situation, it's the job of the interviewee to sort of know what the person asking the question wants to hear. That's what you're doing when you're put on the spot. You're being like, oh, what do they want to hear? You know, like, oh, well, my friends would say I'm good-natured and that I'm responsible. And then you'd come up with the not-so-good one, but you would frame it in a good light. But, like, I'm also, like, I work all the time.
No.
But I think it's changing.
I also want to see if you gel with the people. You spend a lot of time, as we were talking about earlier, with the people that you work with. So does your personality qualities gel with the people who are there?
And that's a legit question, but let's be honest. In a half an hour or hour interview, are you really going to get the answer to that question? No, you're not going to find that out.
What they want to hear.
No, but even, like, you really need to work with somebody day in, day out, weeks, months, years before you really, truly know them. So that question, it doesn't even make sense. And I hate when I get asked this question. There's a little part of me that wants to roll my eyes, but I know I can't because I have a mortgage and I got bills to pay. So I'm going to give them the answer that they want. But here's the truth. 81% of people lie in their interviews. That means 4 out of 5 people are not telling the truth. So go ahead, ask me. I'm going to tell you, what's that answer again? Oh, it's because I work too hard. That's my worst quality. I think it's a stupid question.
It is a stupid question, but I do think things are changing. Right now, I think it is still an employee's market out there. I think a lot of younger people have choices. And I think that that's when you can start to see...
You can ask that boss back? What would your friends say about you?
What kind of boss are you?
And then you can stay unemployed.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.